What I have here is a 2012 Triumph Bonneville Basic. I want to hook up a GPS onto my handlebars, so I need to tap into some power. What I'm going to do is I want to take a look at the auxiliary connector located underneath the tank. So I'm going to show you how I remove the tank off the bike. There's probably a lot of ways of doing it, but I want to show you how I do it. Okay, so we'll zoom in and we'll start. First thing we have to do is remove the seat. 2 bolts at the back using an Allen key. I don't like to use the Allen key that's included with the bike. I have my own. It's just a little longer one, but it has a ball at the end, so it's easier to go in at an angle to remove the screws. Okay, now with the seat removed, the next thing I want to do is remove my battery. 10mm socket will fit on the bolts, and we're going to be playing around with fuel. We're going to be disconnecting power leads, so I don't want the battery on the bike. So I'm going to go ahead and start removing it. Another reason I like to remove the battery is that you have to remove these 2 8mm bolts. The whole tank will lift up at the back and slide back. You can see there's not much distance between the tank and the battery, and you just didn't want to make any contact with it. So before I go ahead and start undoing these things, I empty out my tank. You can watch one of my other videos that I just posted on YouTube about siphoning gas out of a tank. So I'm going to empty out my tank, and then we'll start the removal process. Alright, I siphoned the gas out of my tank. I've removed the seat, removed the battery, and now I'm going to start removing the tank. There's only 2 bolts that holds it on. This is an 8mm socket. I'm going to start removing these bolts. Okay, my 2 bolts are taken off. Tank is ready to be removed. Before you start doing this, what I do is I make a little bed on the floor. I took an old sheet, I coiled it all up, and I put it down on the floor of my garage, and when you finally remove this, you'll have some place to put it. So just put it on the bed, that way it doesn't get scratched, it doesn't roll over, it doesn't tip, that sort of thing. There's going to be 3 things you have to disconnect from here. There's going to be your electrical for your pump. There's going to be the fuel line, and there's going to be the overflow tube, or the vent tube as some people call it. Okay? There's still a little bit of fuel in here that the siphon hose didn't get, but that's okay. When you disconnect your hoses, fuel is not going to pour out of the tank because the pump is in the tank, and unless the pump is running, no fuel is going to come out. However, you will get some residual fuel inside the fuel line. So what I do is I have a rag standing by, okay, and I am going to lift this tank and I'm going to tip it towards me. I don't want to wear jackets with zippers. I don't want to wear belt buckles. You don't want to scratch the tank. You could put a towel over on top of it to protect it. I don't think it's necessary. I have just a little shirt on and nothing sharp enough that's going to scratch the tank. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is lift up the back of the tank. It is held in place by 2 grommets at the front. You can just slide the whole tank back and lift it up off the grommets. I like to tip the tank towards me. I'm standing on the right hand side of the bike. The first thing you're going to notice is the electrical connector right here. This is the electrical connector for the pump, for your level sensors, things like that. Very easy to remove. I'm going to see first if I can zoom in on this and show you. Okay, so the first thing is this fuel electrical cabling for the fuel pump. It is just a simple 2-way connector. It has a little locking pin. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's only one on one side. You simply push that in with your fingers and the whole thing comes apart. Okay, very easy. Snaps in, snaps off. Very simple. All right. The other 2 items are your fuel line and the vent hose. I'll see if I can prop this up and get an even closer view for you guys. Okay, I propped up my tank on a table just so I could get the camera in really close to show you guys what's left. All right. We've already disconnected the electrical for the pump. This is just, this goes, I don't know if I can get in there. This goes down here to your pump, which is right here. It's just a simple pigtail. Okay, so that's all that is. Two other things to remove. One is the vent hose right here. All right, there's no clamps, there's no clips, there's no screws, there's nothing holding it on. It's just pushed on. And all you do is take it and push it off. All right, it's just your basic hose. There's nothing on it. It just slides onto the little shaft here. Okay, the next thing to remove is the fuel line. That's the last part of this. What it has is it has a little plastic clip on it, the orange clip. This is not a lock. It is simply a safety mechanism designed to keep anything from pushing in on the buttons that will release the coupler. Okay, so there are two push-in buttons, one on this side, one on the other side. Okay, this little clip here, all you do is slide it down. That gains you access to these buttons on both sides. You don't have to take it off, you don't have to remove it and slide it up here. Okay, all it does is slides up and down. Okay, so right now it's locked. I cannot reach in here and push out these buttons. What I do is I twist it. This gives me access to push the buttons on both sides. Okay, so I grab the connector, I push it out, gives me access to the buttons. I squeeze them together and push them out. Okay, and that's all there is to it. There's two little buttons, one on each side. Same thing to put it on. When you push these buttons, slide it over this little locking ring and let go of them. So if I want to put it back together, I simply squeeze the buttons, push the fuel hose back onto the coupler, make sure, give it a tug to make sure it's on, and push the safety mechanism back up. That's locked in there now. Okay, fuel won't come out. So that's all there is to it. Push down, squeeze in the two buttons, pop the line off. Now be careful, there's going to be fuel in this line, so have a rag standing by. Okay, and that's all there is to it. You've got your electrical disconnected, your vent hose disconnected, and your fuel line disconnected. You now take your tank and you go and put it on the bed that we made previously. While I've got the tank off, I just want to show you, this is the auxiliary connector. It is tied to the frame using blue electrical tape, and it is just a T connector, and it is live all the time. When your battery is hooked up, this thing has power to it 24/7. So if you're going to use it for GPSs or whatever, just be advised that this is live all the time. It is fused, 10 amp fuse, but live at all times. I'll see if I can get a closer view of this so I can show you what it looks like. Alright, so here it is here. This is your auxiliary connector on your bike. It is 10 amp fuse and it is live all the time. Just your basic spade connector, can plug into it, and that's all there is to it.